To get more insights into the emotional well-being of these families, I spoke with Dr.Ann Rosen Spector. She's a clinical psychologist with 35 years of experience in the field, and I began by asking her how difficult it is for the families to deal with this uncertainty.
It's excruciating because death is so hard to deal with, even when you know that there's a body and what has happened to it, but not knowing, and the idea that they keep coming up with clues, you know, are they found, are they kidnapped? It's just impossible to imagine what the families are going through. They have no idea whether they're dealing with hope or with failure.
And one of the things that we're seeing is this manifesting itself in reactions. We saw this daily briefing the other day, this mother overwhelming emotional outburst. Can you talk to me about the different grief phases? And one family member might be at, you know, where they're angry, another might be where they're sad. And that's also what's kind of churning with these families as well. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, you know, everybody refers to the stages of grief that were popularized by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross many years ago, and they've been pretty much debunked. People feel all sorts of things and not necessarily in stages. You can feel them concomitantly. So you feel anger, you feel loss, you feel rage, you feel sad. There are just so many things that happen, and they just keep cascading, and you can't sort them out when you have no facts.
What does the news today do to a family? I mean, where it looks like debris may be found, but then again, this could vanish in thin air just like we've seen in the past.
Right. It's just more unknown, you know. Everybody wants to cling to the hope, as we would if they were our family members, that they're going to be found and they're going to be fine. So you can't start to mourn somebody until you know that they're gone. And so just as they begin to think, well, it's 2 weeks and they must be gone, then you get some hope and some glimmer. You know, it's like when people disappear, missing children, or when you had people who were in the war who came back, prisoners of war years later. It's very hard to give up hope.
In the word that everybody seems to hate is closure, and yet it seems to be the one piece that everybody wants. They want to be able to have a funeral service or some type of memorial for a family member, but you don't know. How tough is that?
It's extraordinarily difficult because if you have no body and you don't have a burial and you don't have any kind of a funeral for the person, then the person isn't really truly dead. And, you know, people handle that in all sorts of ways. You know, the whole point of funeral rituals are to unite the community around a person when somebody has been lifted out of the community. My guess is that for the people who are missing people, that the community is coming forward to them now, but how long can that last?
United Airlines Flight 93 crashed in Shanksville on 9/11, as we all know. And of course, Todd Beamer screamed, "Let it roll," and everyone kind of knows that narrative. There's a story surrounding it. How difficult is it going to be for family members if wreckage is found, they find out that the plane crashed, but there's no narrative, no story. They don't know if it was hijacked, if it was terrorism, if it just crashed, it got off course. There's so many different scenarios. How tough is that for the family members?
It just adds another whole level of difficulty to it because it adds to the unknown. And the whole point of the human experience is to try to answer the unknown, whether we do it through science or logic or religion. It's to fill in the gaps. And we're very uncomfortable as a species with gaps that are left open. And if they don't ever get an answer, then those gaps are never going to be filled for those family members.
Ann Rosen Spector, thank you so much for your time. Certainly appreciate it.